I told you they were going to announce this today. I haven't steered you wrong on this yet. Although I have to say, Zack Snyder was really making me sweat. He waited until the last possible moment to announce it. And then he kind of like was maybe not going to do it for a second, it looked like. I mean, when Henry Cavill showed up, I was like, it's happening for sure. I was 99.9% sure. But that damn 0.1%, you never know. And you're going to notice during this whole time, when, now that Zack Snyder's going to be talking about it, addressing it, he's going to have to be really careful about what he says. And you saw that if you watch the live stream, because there's the public story about what went down, and there's a private story about what went down. And I think one of the trickiest things about doing this release is going to be navigating that. And come to think of it, maybe that's one of the reasons that Warner Brothers has been so reluctant to revisit this material, because they don't want to revisit all that drama behind the scenes either. But I think this is great for everybody. We're going to talk about it all. I got the whole thing broken down for you. I got all the deets. I got some extra information that I heard. I have some tea for you. You're going to know everything that I know by the end. Well, not everything, but you'll know almost everything by the end of this video. All right, so highlights. We're getting it. HBO Max, and I've heard from my sources it's going to be broken up into 6 35-minute episodes. And it's a year away, as you can see, 2021, but not like, I don't think early 2021. They have VFX that have to be finished, and Zack Snyder wants to shoot additional scenes. He wants to add things to the movie. Very cool things. You want him to do this, but that takes a while. However, by the time this thing comes on HBO Max, more of you will have it across the globe. And in fact, a lot of Snyder Cut fans are overseas, I think particularly in South America and the UK. So they've got to get HBO Max for this to work. So very exciting. So the carrot's far in the distance, but the carrot's there. Now, again, I knew the Snyder Cut announcement was coming today, and I thought it was really a nice touch. I also started to feel a little bit better when Deborah Snyder showed up towards the end of the movie. That is Zack Snyder's wife, producer, and overall partner, professionally and personally, and I thought it was really nice that she was involved for this. I thought that was great. But then Henry Cavill shows up with the stash. That was fantastic. And they had some fans come in, some of them wearing Zack Snyder's Justice League shirts. That's the name for it, not the Snyder Cut, Zack Snyder's Justice League. And I thought it was a really nice touch that he had a fan from South America, no less, get to ask that big question, Danny, about the Snyder Cut. And she nailed it. She had a really nice build-up and everything. I thought that was really sweet. Now, Zack Snyder explained that Warner Brothers owns the cut, or he would have leaked it Ryan Reynolds style a long time ago. But yes, Warner Brothers owns it, so of course that's one of the reasons they had to agree for this to be released. Now, also, back to Cavill. As I've told you before, I'd heard there'd been some bad blood between Snyder and Cavill. And Henry Cavill had supported Joss Whedon in the switch of directors, while the rest of the cast, I mean, they had to continue because they were under contract, but they were more loyal to Snyder. They were like, we'll do it, but we don't like it. And I heard that Henry Cavill was like, I don't care, I love the Marvel movies, let's do it. And by the way, I think it's also important to note that Henry Cavill never supported the Snyder Cut movement on social media, especially on that very important day in November. That was a big day, as I told you. But Henry Cavill, of course, is now having some trouble getting that cape back on, no matter who's directing. And a huge interest in revisiting his time when he was Superman with the Snyder Cut could really help him, and fans love him, right? I mean, I said they want to do some additional scenes. Who were those additional scenes going to be filmed with? Maybe Superman? I mean, Dani Garcia, Henry Cavill's manager, tweeted this out. She was like, oh, look who's on the stream, Warner Brothers. It's great. So everybody's friends again. So we'll be friends again with Cavill. So he's great. I thought that was great for him to show up. And I do love him in the stash, but not as Superman, obviously. All right, so also, I mean, it would be like rating DC Miracles to not only get the Snyder Cut, but also Henry Cavill back as Superman. I mean, you'll definitely get him back in that cut, but it would be so great if this led to him coming back overall. Now let's get into some details, okay? First off, I just want to highlight, I told you that this was going to happen. Not that I hoped it would happen or that it should happen, that I knew it was going to happen, okay? I'd heard from my sources what was actually going on. I kept you updated all along the way, including how important it was for you to tweet on that fateful day in November. And a lot of people were real jerks about my saying stuff about this. It's like, if you didn't believe me, just go away, right? But I was right. I was right the whole time because my sources are legit. I keep my cool. I know the business, which I think is a huge important thing in understanding what's going on behind the scenes. It's the same reason I was able to tell you that that Spider-Man and Disney were Sony and Disney will work out a deal for Spider-Man. It's just you got to know the players and how they play the game. And I know what I'm doing as a reporter. So I know I'm tooting my own horn a little bit there, but so many people said I was wrong, and it was really frustrating, but I knew I was right. I was right. So I just want to touch on that. All right, so I'd also like to add that this is a huge win against toxicity, even with the fact that Zack Snyder and Henry Cavill are back together. I mean, it's just, you can feel the love, right? I mean, the toxicity that would pull a director off of his film because an inexperienced producer had a cool opportunity. The toxicity of people not allowing others to enjoy a film or a fandom. And quite frankly, the toxicity of us versus them. Who's a real fan? Who's a real filmmaker? You know, what's good? What's not good? It really, I think, has been like the hallmark of the argument over, the DCEU content. And it's really, as I said, toxic. And I think this is a very healing step forward. So HBO Max finally has its Mandalorian because HBO Max has to show what sets it apart from just being HBO on steroids, right? HBO has lots of movies. HBO has lots of TV. You can get TV anywhere. Why would you want to pay for HBO Max? The Friends reunion was supposed to be their silver bullet, but it's been delayed because of the pandemic. Warner Brothers, by the way, I heard, did not want to pay. I think at the beginning of these conversations, like in November, Warner Brothers was like, maybe we'll air it on HBO Max. And Zack Snyder was like, give me $15 to $20 million. And they were like, never mind. But I think, you've been able to sign up for HBO Max for a couple of weeks now. I think they're seeing what the numbers are looking like. And that sealed the deal for, giving Zack the money to finish this the way he wants to. Now, we've all heard the rumor. I've never heard this rumor, so I can't say if it's true, that Warner Brothers suits didn't like it. I heard they liked the Justice League cut back in the day. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But they got nervous about the dark aspects of the film. And for instance, I can tell you that Warner Brothers executives never got Swamp Thing, which was I think the main reason it was canceled. They didn't think it was good. They didn't know what they had. So on that note, what is the Snyder Cut, right? So it's Justice League's original cut before Geoff Johns and Joss Whedon hacked it up, right? It's a continuation of BVS instead of the course correction it unfortunately became, which was a huge failure. Now, what I heard is that executives loved Zack Snyder's cut, even back then. They really liked it, but they never tested it with an audience, and they never did, by the way, which I heard they regretted. Some of the suits regretted that. But Whedon became available, and I heard that Johns fell in love with the idea of having Marvel's Avengers director do Justice League. And he talked the executives into switching directors, which was, Joss Whedon was effectively fired from Marvel. I don't know. And Age of Ultron was many considered certainly the weakest Avengers movie. I don't know why they would do that. All right, so since execs had seen it, Snyder's cut has been around for a long time. His cut of the Justice League movie has existed. And Snyder has screened it for the cast, I heard, all except Henry Cavill, by the way, who wasn't in attendance, interestingly. But again, we're all friends now. The Zack Snyder's cut is a little over 3 hours, but it has, I said, a lot of VFX work to be done, and Snyder would like to add a few more goodies, like cameos. There's one that's so good, you will love it. I'll give you one hint, and that just think about who's tweeted about release the Snyder cut, even though they're not in the movie. Just think about it. All right. So again, it's 6 35-minute episodes, which will air almost certainly weekly instead of being bingeable, because they want you to sign up for HBO Max. And they could even extend it by doing some interview episodes, talking about Zack Snyder, talking to him behind the scenes with the cast. I'm sure Henry Cavill would love to do anything. He'll be like, I'll do anything that involves Superman. I'll do interviews, I'll do reshoots, I'll do new scenes, let's do it. And that would extend the show even more. It would be like putting the Mandalorian and the Disney Gallery Mandalorian together. And you might be like, why can't they just release it as it was originally intended? Is Zack's vision again getting tampered with by the suits? Who cares? He's getting it released. I think that's really, really important. I think he wants redemption, for what he intended. I mean, Warner Brothers doesn't care about Snyder's vision. They care about HBO Max, and that's the only reason you're getting this. And I think you have to, again, as I told you, it's about understanding the business and why things happen. And Warner Brothers is doing this so that you will sign up for HBO Max. Now, if it does really well, will the story continue? I don't know if the whole cast would be down for that. They've been very supportive. They all tweeted, release the Snyder Cut, or shared it on social media, except Henry Cavill in November. Remember, I told you how important it was to do that and we'll talk about that in a moment, the timeline of how this happened. So they might be willing to maybe revisit it. But on that note, that all depends on how well it does. So don't pirate it. Okay, make sure you watch it. You could maybe even someday get the Ayer cut. You don't know. Just make sure you support this. Now, how did this happen? I'll give you a quick timeline. So he had the cut, and everybody knew it existed. I said, even one of you put a clip from my spoiler review when Justice League first came out about how we all knew there was additional footage. I'd seen some of it when I got invited to visit some post-production. We knew it was out there. We knew it was cool, and I said it would haunt the movie forever, and it has. So it was out there, and I think it was a symbiotic relationship between Zack Snyder and his fans. Fans said, give us more stuff, you know, we're here for you, and Zack would give them things, like SnyderCon was wonderful. And so that relationship has really become a beautiful and very strong thing. Then streaming came along, and studios desperately need content, lots of content, and they need content that stands out amongst the crowd. And I really don't think HBO Max has very much of that, and let's be diplomatic about it. They don't really have very much of that. Now in November, you know, they had that fateful day where everybody was supposed to tweet release the Snyder Cut. And that was to show Warner Brothers that interest still existed. Because I had been told, as I told you at the time, that meetings were already taking place. But, you know, Warner Brothers needed a little convincing. But the price tag was too much for them, even with that show of fandom. But there have been rumors that AT&T got involved this year. You know, when the acquisition of AT&T of Warner Media became, you know, complete. And so maybe they were like, let us see this thing. So maybe that was the latest that it's been shown. Now, I heard on Saturday that the deal was like moving ahead. And on Sunday, I teased on Movie Math. And then on Monday, my contacts exploded. I was hearing it from all my contacts. They were like, oh my God, it's being signed, as I tweeted. But no trade leaked the deal. I thought it might leak. I'm really impressed. I think everyone said we might be getting it. Now, I would like to think they waited to support Zack Snyder so that he could do it. That's why I did it. But my bet is that for some reason, people just don't want this to happen, and they don't want to believe it. So they were like, let's just wait till it actually does, and we have no choice but to cover it. But we'll see. Going forward, what will the hashtag be? I'm excited to see what everybody settles on. It can't be the Snyder Cut, because now it's Zack Snyder's Justice League, but that's very long. So there's something about the Snyder Cut. I also think it's really wonderful that it shows not only the change of streaming on Hollywood, but also the power that social media has. So rejoice! This is a huge win for Snyder, you, and maybe even Henry Cavill. Share your thoughts down below, subscribe today, and of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.